How do you solve big problems? No, really big problems. Earlier this month, I read the latest article by Bill Gates on his website, GatesNotes. And that made me go, yes, I'm not the only one. Now, before I tell you what Bill Gates does to solve big problems, let's take a journey. Let's go to Vietnam. Let's go back to the 1990s. Vietnam was still opening up. It was early days. The war had just ended in 1975. The US had an embargo in place, so Vietnam couldn't trade with many countries. At the time, Vietnam was also facing a big challenge with malnutrition children. So the Vietnamese government called Save the Children. And Jerry Sternin and his wife Monique arrived and they wanted to help. Now here's the kicker. The Vietnamese government gave them 6 months. Yes, 6 months to come up with a solution to a big problem. Similar to many other poor countries, they were faced by lack of clean water, lack of money, ignorance around food, lack of sanitation. It was just hard. But you can't change those big items in 6 months. So Jerry Sternin put them in a bucket and say, yeah, TBU, they're all true, but useless. Instead, he decided to do something radically different. Together with his wife and some Vietnamese colleagues, they started to travel from village to village. And in those villages, they took all the kids and they measured them. Height, weight, age, recorded all the numbers and started to compare. And what they found was this. Despite growing up in the same village, same conditions, same access to very little food, several kids were normal. Normal weight, normal height. Jerry and his team looked at the numbers and went, this is interesting. Let's go and explore. Let's find out what these mothers do differently. They went to visit the mothers and they looked at how they took care of their children. And they did several things differently. Number one, at the time it was common belief in Vietnam that if your kid has diarrhea, don't feed the kid. These moms were different. They still gave their kids food even though they had diarrhea. Second thing, many moms just gave their kid 1 or 2 meals a day because there was not a lot of food. But the moms with normal kids broke these meals into smaller meals and increased the frequency of feeding. Also, the third thing, the mothers made sure that the kid was actually eating because younger kids tend to play with their food and do other things, so they might not be eating all the food. Fourth thing, many moms went to the fields to look for like tiny crabs and shrimps that were not considered good food, but it was very nutritious and it had protein, and they would put it into the rice. And lastly, they would also collect sweet potato leaves and mix it into the food. So overall, these moms produced meals that were more nutritious and feeding their kids more frequently, so the kids were normal. Now, Jerry and his wife had found the formula, and these mothers then started to show other mothers what they were doing, and it spread really fast. Within 2 years of this project starting, some villages had reduced the malnutrition with 65 to 85%. 65 to 85% by simply looking at who is doing this well and how can we learn from them. The story about Jerry and Monique, Vietnam, malnutrition is one of my favorite stories of all time. It was first published in Fast Company in 2000 and I have used it ever since when I work with leaders who want to make change. And that brings me back to Bill Gates and his article. In the article, he shared the 2 questions that he has used since his time at Microsoft to solve big problems. And now Bill Gates is focused on health, but it doesn't matter. It works in any field. So what are the 2 questions? Who has dealt with this problem well, and what can we learn from them? Who has dealt with this problem well, and what can we learn from them? Now, you look at Jerry Sternin in Vietnam, that's exactly what he did. So next time you are facing a big problem, big challenge, you might want to ask yourself, who has dealt with this problem well, and what can we learn from them? Find those bright spots, call them, hang out with them, look at what they're doing, learn, and adopt that to your own situation. And you will get better results. My name is Tomas Bay, and I'll be back with more videos on innovation. If you like, press that button. If you subscribe, that button, even better. Until next time, make things better and make better things. Boom!